Back, everybody, back to another exciting show of the About That Water podcast, where we help the sandwich generation build strong financial habits so that they can talk about money, spend money, and enjoy their money with confidence. Today, I have somebody who calls themselves the Success King. However, they're not just a Success King because they say so, it's because the people actually believe it and they continue on to pump him out there. And I'm glad to have him on the show. Welcome to the show, Duane. How you doing today?
So glad, absolutely great, Anthony. Glad to be here. Glad to absolutely engage with you today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir. I just want to let the people know that are listening right now. So we actually made it to the top 3% listen podcast worldwide, according to Listen Notes. I just want to thank you guys for continuing to share this information out so we can get amazing guests just like Dwayne here, so we can continue to be a success like the successful king over here. So, Dwayne, tell us why the success king? Why is this a passion of yours? Why is this something for the people that they should be tuning into?
Yeah, one of the things that was a disturbance, and it started as a disturbance for me, was around the word success.
Mm.
The word success was always viewed as an end. And the more people that I dealt with and tried to assist in our common journeys, I realized that we needed to reframe what this word was really all about. And so for me, I started dealing with people that success is actually engaging the process. So many people didn't start, wouldn't start, because again they were afraid that they didn't know the end, which they attributed as being success. So most of the things that I do in classes and content and things of that nature engage people around getting involved in the process, learning, and that's what I call success. I don't
Mm.
call success the end. I call success the fact that you've engaged, that you've got started. And so the success king, not because I'm talking about how your end is. I believe the end is going to be good, but it's simply because we've been successful at getting you to engage the process.
Nice. We have somebody that's coming in to the chat. Keep in mind this is live, so we're gonna have some live questions coming through. Um, they already complained that it's late. I was like, it's not late. You're late to the show. We always on time.
It's
Now,
right.
because one of the things in business that we always hear about is starting. And it's the hardest thing to actually do, not just because you feel as though your circle might not see the vision, but it's always funny that the people outside your circle, I mean, from friends, family, your neighbors, like you find your best supporters from just random strangers. Is that always the case? Have you seen that usually in the business and trying to find success?
Yeah, well, one of the things I think people should just automatically know from the door: do not judge what you're doing's effectiveness by people who already have locked in an opinion about you. Typically, family and very close friends are not going to be the people that are going to help you grow the thing that you're trying to do because they've already seen you, locked you in a particular area. So let them be family. Let that be your brother. Let that be your mother. Let that be your father, your brother, your sister, your cousin, and find ways to take what you have that's useful and beneficial to others, take it beyond that circle. Because if you keep it in that circle, you're going to absolutely misjudge yourself. They're not going to watch your videos. They're not going to pump it out. They're not going to push it. Not typically. They're not going to be the one at the store shopping. That's not typically what's going to happen. They're not going to get their nails done at your salon. They're not, you can do it for free. They're not going to pay you. So you've got to just allow your family to be your family and support you by being that foundation in your life, but not expect them to be the people that are going to help you go and build whatever it is you're trying to build.
Mm. That because that's important that we think about that, mostly because we want to support our friends and family, but sometimes we was like, we can't afford you right now. Is there something that we can kind of do to support our friends and family that is not that's cost effective?
Yeah, I think for us to support friends and family. Like one of the things that I do, so I teach people how to invest in the stock market. I help people with credit. So one of the things I did, I made a decision. I was not going to try and get my family to hire me.
Mm,
I would, as a service to my family, just like anything legacy oriented, I'm going to simply provide this service to my family. So I offered the service that I provided as a business free to people in my family. In addition to that, I said I'm going to take a 10-week class and just teach how to invest in stocks. And I'm going to offer this as a Zoom just for my family members. So that one day
mm.
out of the week, we would come in on a Zoom, and whoever in the family wanted to be a part of that was able to participate. So I think you can get your family to come along. I think you just have to be careful to not try and treat your family as people who are clients, but instead maybe offer what you do and have as a strong suit as something that can lift your family.
I like that. Now, when it comes to business, you talked about legacy, and a lot of times people say, "Well, I started this business for my child,"
Hmm.
but the child has no interest
Hmm.
in that business. They saw the work ethic, they saw the hustle, they saw the grind, and it was like, you know, what? I don't want to be a business owner. I would rather just work in regular 9 to 5. I've seen
Right.
it
Right.
common over and over again. Like, how do we as business owners try to not like show that burden? Because sometimes you're like, hey, I missed the game, or I missed that play, or I wasn't there for their big day. You know what I'm saying? As a business owner.
I think the toughest part, and I had long discussion about this very thing last night. I think one of the most difficult things in uh, being a founder of something, doing something maybe first in a family system, definitely new for you, is that it definitely requires a lot of your time. It's going to pull you away. And so you've got to find a way to be loyal to yourself and to your vision. And at the same time, make sure that the time you have with the people that you love, you are really present with them. So as far as what I show you, if you were a child of mine per se, and I was going to bring you in to do some summer work or something of that nature to kind of get you acclimated to learn a little bit about the business, I think it's important to let people learn. Just like if you were bringing any intern or something into the business, let them come in and see some specific aspect. Don't bring them in at the owner level
Mm,
as far as what you show them. Bring them in and share something with them in this time that could be beneficial, and then let them go live their life and engage them again. I just think it's very important to not overwhelm people with your vision because you've bought into it at a different level. Allow people to still have their lives and engage as you see fit in the small part, the pieces that you think are good bites that a person could take. But the key is when you're with people who are not in your vision like you are, make sure you're present with those people.
I like that because we tend to be blindsided to a lot of things, and obviously life be life. Let's be
Right,
honest.
right.
Be like, well, we tried, but sometimes that tried isn't good enough. Because I'm going back, I'm trying to stay around the focus of success because, in a sense, it's like, what does success look like for you? And that's one of the things that I try to do when I pitch other businesses of like trying to partner or try to get into the brand or even just from a marketing perspective. Like, what does success look like for you from a brand for right now this quarter? Is that something that um, as a business owner, you have to obviously practice selling. And so are there any particular selling tactics that you've seen that actually help people be successful uh in their niche or like common core questions?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that a business owner has to have, and this is just anybody in general, is what do you really believe? Like, for instance, you can come out here and talk about anything, you can start anything, you can have from A to Z. There's so many opportunities as far as what you could be in business to do. But around whatever it is you are trying to do, what do you really believe? Do you really believe what you are trying to sell? Do you
Mm.
really believe what you are saying? Have you bought into the message you're trying to share with me? So often we are just copying something that someone else said and we don't believe it. And so it doesn't come across as authentic when we share it. I think it is very important that an entrepreneur be connected in belief system to what it is they are sharing. So it's not just like informational share, it's literally sharing my life, my process, what I'm firmly invested in with you. I think believing is critical component, and it affects people so many different ways when you don't believe what it is you say you're doing. But when you really have bought into it yourself, I think then it becomes much easier to do it in a more effective way.
Mm. Okay. So, but let's take us back a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, you started your career about like 37 years ago. Times have changed.
Big time.
What has stayed the same?
Well, here's the thing that's critical. Okay, so the way I got started doing what I do was actually beyond 37 years. I went to college 17 years of age, and when I went to college, I had no financial literacy training at home. Great
Mm.
parents, but we just didn't learn about how to deal with money, how to deal with credit, how to deal with debt. We didn't learn. So when I got to college, I was 17. And the first thing I noticed at this pristine school was there were applications for credit cards almost in every room on this campus. I'm going from
Crazy.
place to place and I'm seeing credit card applications everywhere. Well, at 17, you couldn't fill out an application. But in 3 months, I was going to turn 18. So I already had a goal in mind. I'm getting some of these credit cards. And sure enough, when I turned 18, I applied for credit cards. I got 4 credit cards with no financial literacy training, no job at the time. Started shopping, 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 spending, spending, spending. Well, the bills started coming in. And this was before there were cell phones. And so my mother's phone started ringing at the house with bill collectors calling. And I was doing everything I could to try to, keep this hidden and deal with
Mm.
this on my own. But I realized something. I realized that the system was very organized.
Mm.
Every system is organized. And if you engage that system and you do not know how it works, you are going to be a casualty in that system.
Mm.
So, what I had to do was study consumer law for 18 months while in college. And what I discovered was wow, the system had great marketing and it used its marketing techniques against my ignorance. And I got these cards when I shouldn't have gotten them. So, after studying that for 18 months, I fixed my credit. I wrote a booklet and I
Nice.
started helping other people. I started teaching seminars. That led to a business, and that part is 37 years ago. What has not changed is that every system has its own sets of rules, process, patterns, and if you do not learn those, you are going to be a casualty in that system. So there is nothing about that that's changed. It is the exact same today, and it is going to stay the same. Whoever creates the system has the power. And if you want to be effective in that system, you've got to learn the things, the nuances that they put in the system specifically to make them money and make sure you are not on the wrong side of that information. That has not changed and it never will change.
Nice. So, where do we go from here then? Because we hear that credit is changing. They talk about the FICO score a lot. How important is it to have your personal credit before you start doing dealing with your business?
Well, the first thing that we have to understand around credit is when someone says FICO or Vantage Score or anything, what are they really saying? This is all that credit really is as far as a score and all that. It's simply the algorithm of that system assigning a risk number to how you manage debt. So when I talk to people, because credit repair and credit work is some of the most dirtiest, scammiest type stuff in this economy. And the reason it is because people who need it are rarely taught that your problem is debt management. You
Mhm.
have not learned how to effectively manage debt. So this country does something like give you a card, and this country's marketing arm, the systems, calls it a credit card, but it's really a debt card. And so when people start understanding, oh, I got a 530 credit score because I'm terrible at debt management, that's fixable.
Yeah.
So you whether you should be working personal or business first, you absolutely have got to master personal debt management because whoever you are, that's who's leading the business. If you're horrible at debt management and financial planning and processing and all that, and you become the owner, the leader, the innovator, the visionary of a business, typically you're going to transfer that bad skill set right to the business. This is the reason why institutions who look to approve business owners for funding look at the CEO as well because they know the way you handle your personal stuff is quite reflective of how you're going to handle the business stuff. So, absolutely, you should work on personal debt management. Make sure you're good with understanding what that means, how to do it effectively, and then transfer that over to your business.
So, what could people do right now to start focusing on their personal business? Because you hear about all these different tools and stuff like that. What is your number one thing that got people going to kind of get their finances in order?
Well, the first thing you have to do is engage. The sad part about it is that there's too many people in the United States who have never seen a credit report of theirs. They don't even know what's on there. And
True.
so, because they've not seen a credit report and they don't know anything about it until they need it, it's obviously putting them in the game at the wrong time and too late, unfortunately. The first thing you should do is connect somewhere and view your full Experian, Equifax, TransUnion credit reports. Look through it. See what's being reported about you. Look at how many names they have for you, how many addresses they have. Look at how many people they say you currently work for. All this type of stuff. Look at the derogatories, the delinquents, the opens, the inquiries. Get a picture of what the system is reporting on you to anyone you try to do business with. And then you're ready to start doing something. But you first have got to observe the data, get involved with your own credit life.
A lot of people want to be the ostrich, though. Like, it's so
Right,
much peace and bliss and ignorance. Like,
right. Sadly, we bury our heads
Mhm.
and but here's the problem. Someone comes along and realizes that and creates products specifically for that group of people, and it's called buy now, pay later. The buy now, pay later scheme was we're going to give you the ability to get stuff without having to go through the system. You'll never have to look at a credit report because we are not going to pull your credit to approve you. And then
That's
that
true.
system made a deal in November of 2025 to now report whatever you did through buy now, pay later on your credit report. So in March of this year, it starts showing up on credit reports. So even though they sold it to you as you don't need to be involved with the credit system, we can get you the car, we can get you furniture, you can do vacations, we can get you approvals on everything, but it's buy now, pay later. It's financed without your credit approval. Well, now they're putting it on the credit report. So it's further harming you in the system because you're going to bury your head or try to avoid the system that in capitalism, it's a required system to deal with.
Thank you. So, for those of you who are just joining, we're here with Dwayne, the Success King. We're talking about credit, starting your business. So, if you have any questions out there, please let us know and go on to chime in. We have a statement here from Dr. Said. Dr. says, we gotta get her episode out here, but she's been on the show before. She said it's very true. A marker of how well we manage that people can be broke and can't pay their bills with a 850 credit score, because this is going back to how you say it's a debt management score.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's a challenge. If you are, I mean, the sad part about it is there's two sides. We talk about score, that's the risk number, but the side that gets approval is called the profile. So the system could give you a decent score because you've got two credit cards and a car loan. You've done very well with those, but you don't get approvals because your profile is weak. Because you got some credit cards at a low 600 score, you've managed them well for 10 years, you've added nothing else but a car loan, and so they have to reward your score because your risk factor is lower because you're doing well. But a score is simply the entry fee into the room where all financial decisions get made. That's all a credit score is. Inside that room now, they're going to evaluate the profile to see, well, your score is 720, but 720 at what?
mm,
So now we're going to look to see what have you actually had on the profile, and does it fit what is required in order for us to give you what you're asking for. So I see people with 750 credit scores get declined all the time because of a thin file. They do not have in their profile what the system says would be what we would need to see in order to give you what it is you're trying to go for. So you got to have a strong profile with the good score. And you can definitely have a good score with a horrible profile.
that is true. 'Cause I've seen it, been there, done that. Got my score down to like what 324 at one point, and I was like, I didn't even know it can go that far. That's pretty much my name. That was it.
That's exactly what you if you have a pulse, you can get a 300 credit score. All you need is a pulse.
So true.
But we're all fighting for the 550 points. We want to
That's
get
it.
that 300 to 850. We're fighting for that 550. And that profile determines how much of the 550 you get. And it's important that the profile is built properly, or else somewhere down the road, when you wake up and you want something with a better interest rate, you're not going to qualify for it because you've built your whole profile on things that fit high interest rates.
Yeah, and so the reason why I wanted to spend a little bit more time inside building the credit is because some people forget that you need your personal credit to even get started for your business.
That's right.
I know sometimes they always try to say, should you just go down and go out, get your EIN and just go do this, and all of a sudden you making all this money, but they
Yeah.
don't talk about, well, how did you even get it? Like,
Right.
what was your
Right.
credit score? What do you need to do? So, can you take us from now we got our credit right? What should be the next thing for the business? Should because there's always a pull and a push on this particular topic. Either you should sell something first, or should you start the business first?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I use three S's to describe an effective business. The first S is separation. And what I mean by separation, the business must be separated from the owner. If
Mhm.
you're using your personal credit cards to handle your business transactions, that's not separation. If you're using a business anything to do something personal, that's not separation. The business has to have its own financial identity. So one of the things when you start an LLC, an S corp, or C corp, that's all state level stuff. To make it federal, you got to add an EIN to it. To make it start having its own financial identity, you got to give it its own bank account. Then you have to learn that business credit and personal credit use two different sets of credit bureaus. On the personal side, we're talking Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. On the business side, we're talking Dun and Bradstreet, Experian Business, and Equifax Business. Your business does not exist in the world unless you go from separation to the next S, which is structure. So now I've got to make sure that this business is showing up on Dun and Bradstreet. So I'm going to register. I'm going to connect my Duns to my Experian business, to my Equifax business. And my goal now will be to get an 80 Paydex score, which shows up on Duns because you're not getting funding for a business without a Paydex score of at least 80. So this is now the structure component. The last phase is strategy. And that's where you find who is my client. The three questions that every business owner needs to be able to answer is first, number one, who is my client? Number two, where are they? And number three, what's an offer that I could extend that they could not refuse? I have met with so many business owners who are in business for everybody. Their product is for everybody. And
That
the
is a word.
reason they can't market, the reason they can't be successful is that they don't know their avatar. They have no clue who their client is. Secondly, if they could think about the client, they don't know where these people hang out. They don't know what these people read. They don't know where these people particularly are in social media. So where they're marketing isn't even finding the people. No really successful business goes without those three S's: separation, structure, strategy. And if you really want to be effective at it, you put that into practice. I guarantee you, you're going to find yourself being able to scale a business, getting funding that you need for the business, and being successful because number one, you're not trying to reach everybody. You are finding a specific niche that your business serves and you're being very effective at it. And that's how you grow a business very, very effectively in a culture like ours.
That makes sense because I was thinking about would you buy a vacuum cleaner from a mattress company?
That's right. That's right. And if you're the vacuum cleaner business, you don't need to be advertising to people looking for mattresses
Right.
because there's a place for that ad placement. There's a place. And if you're sitting there in that place, you're wasting your dollars. I teach something, and it's just a side note. Our bodies have 12 systems because I'm a systems person. Our bodies have 12 systems. If you go to medical school, you're going to go to medical school under one system. So you would not trust your ears with your heart doctor because your heart doctor
True.
has had no training on the ears, even though he's working in the body, a very critical component. He is simply not trained. And here's what I've learned about the systems of the body: some of them are so close. I'm talking about within centimeters from touching each other, but they never touch. So in business, you got to think the same way. I've got to find where is my lane, where is my client, and make sure that I'm going after them with every dollar we have. Because here's what I've discovered, Anthony, is that sometimes it's not a bad business. Sometimes you simply haven't found your client.
Mhm.
That's it.
I like that because you even have it on your website, which is that most entrepreneurs don't have a money problem; they have an alignment problem.
That's right.
And I mean, you're just talking about that with the three S's, and understanding is that even from a podcast, I understand podcast language a little better. So because one of the things that I listen to a lot of podcasters, and they say like, "Yeah, I want to start one." I was like, well, who's your target audience? And if they can't align that, that creates too much ambiguity. And that's what happening with me with my show when I first started. I was like, well, it's anybody who wanted to learn about money. But I had to, as soon as I switched to saying like, hey, I'm only focused on the sandwich generation, people with kids, and also take care of their parents. And that is when it helped out a lot because now I'm starting to figure out, okay, what are they looking for?
That's
Let me
right.
make sure I get the guests that are actually providing that particular service, or be able to answer those tough questions that I don't have the expertise
That's
in, but
right.
I can find somebody to do so. So I think that really sums up the thing. Is there anything that we want to touch on before we dive into the final four questions?
No, that's what you just said there is like when I say paramount,
Mm,
that is paramount. I will just simply say this to reinforce it. Do not doubt your idea.
mm,
Check your process. Many times, great ideas have been thrown in the trash simply because someone didn't organize it properly because you just didn't know. I've done tremendously well with credit, but if I were to tell you what I told you at 17 and 18, my score was a 529 before there was a FICO.
wow.
Um, so it doesn't mean that you can't. It may mean that you simply haven't learned how to operate effectively in such a way that that great idea could find life and growth and become scalable. I challenge people all the time. Do not doubt your visions and your dreams and your ideas. Sometimes you do not have the foundation underneath them so that they can be successful. And it was interesting when you said sandwich, when I saw that sandwich generation, see the
Mm,
limiting aspect of what we do, limiting the people that we're targeting makes us have to get more detail and more
yes.
specific because I'm saying it's for these 30s and 40s with these types of conditions. Now I've got to get more specific so that I feed the people that I claim I represent. And I think every smart business owner learns that as quickly as you can. And you start making sure that you are speaking to the actual people your business was created to reach. So
Yeah, it took
I
me
love
three
what you
years.
said.
It took me 3 years to figure
It
that
takes all of us
out.
time because sadly we weren't taught this.
No. So who's your target audience before we dive into the fourth? I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, here's what's crazy. Most of what I do in life is I help financially plateaued people who know that the system is working against them actually have a breakthrough in credit, business, and life. Primarily, it's a lot of people 46 to 64 in the YouTube world that are watching me who are very financially established. However, there's things that they just don't understand about the system that would help them be a whole lot better.
Mm,
So I'm seeing people who are financially plateaued. That's the people who have connected to what I teach across all of my social platforms. They've got something going, but it's plateaued and they're trying to figure out what steps do I need to take to get to the next level. And so the information that I typically produce is all about helping those individuals take their businesses, take their lives to the next level by breaking through those credit, business, and life barriers that we often have.
wow. Yeah, because we touched on a lot of the actionable items that they can actually take today. Uh, with your audience, has there been like a common thing that kind of get them moving besides just getting their head out of the hole? They could look at what they got going on.
Yeah, you know what I've learned because I'm so into systems, what I've learned the most in what I've done in 2026 is that you'd be surprised how many people, great, well meaning people, putting in a lot of energy, time, and effort, simply do not understand the system they're trying to succeed in.
Mm,
They just don't understand it. So they're doing all the right stuff. Like for instance, your mother made sweet potato pies and your
she
grandmother
does.
made sweet potato pies and everybody in your family loved these sweet potato pies. And so you now make sweet potato pies, but you're doing it to sell them.
Mm,
Yet you haven't understood the bakery component that's totally changed. It's no longer just a bakery on a corner and everybody comes and gets their stuff in the morning. Nobody coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning cooking pies, and it doesn't work like that. So you've been cooking the pies and you're wondering why you're not able to sell them like you think you could sell them, but you don't understand what's happened in that industry. And
Mm.
simply, where's your client? So I think when people who are financially plateaued because they got great ideas and they know it should be more, once they learn, okay, there's a component missing to what you're doing. Where are your people? And what's the offer? They can't refuse. You've got to nail it down to that level.
Love it. So for this, you ready for the front four?
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Um, I usually have a jingle, but it is what it is. All right. All right. So, question one: what does wealth mean to you?
Yeah. Uh, I have a very unique, I think at times, definition for wealth. Wealth to me is all about an abundant supply.
Mm.
So if a demand comes in my life, and it comes in all of our lives, and I've got access to the supply that meets that demand, I'm a wealthy person. So the danger for people, because a lot of times we attribute wealth to only money, but man, I may simply need a friend who knows how to handle this situation. I'm wealthy if I've got that person in my life. I know who to call. It may be financial, but there could be many components and aspects. So I call it an abundant supply that meets every need that comes into my life. That's a wealthy person. I have the resources to meet the needs that come, but it is totally not exclusive to finances.
Perfect answer. Like the best. Number two: what was your biggest money lesson?
Wow, here's the thing that I think was huge for me. I was 27 years old and a half when I understood
And a
and
half.
learned the importance of investing.
Mhm.
And I was in my 30s before I really, really got heavily involved. So I missed the benefit of compound interest between ages 20 and 30. You could start investing at 20 to 30 and stop at 30, never put another dime in, and end up with million plus by 65 just by the benefit of compound interest. So you can never go back and claim compound interest. When it's lost, it's lost. So I always say to people who are in your 20s, but whatever age, you get started now. Do not always trade time for money. You have got to find a way to send money out and let it go work for you. And that's the power of compound interest. The earlier and the more you send out early, the more time is going to make that money make money, because compound interest is all about your interest makes interest. So I if I had started at 20 and not really 27 and a half and mostly 30, I would have had all of those years of my interest making interest, and it would have put me in a whole different position as someone who starts later has to do more. So the younger you start, the less you have to put in because of the power of compound interest.
That- I have a side question, which
Yes.
is do you feel like the hustle is harder, or the reason why older people hustle more is because we didn't take time to invest in ourselves in our 20s?
Yeah, I think what happens is you this is the truth of life, and I hope everyone in the sandwich generation understands this. When you start seeing the gray hairs like I see in my beard,
Yep,
it's
yep.
an indicator. It should tell you youth is going to leave so fast. I can't tell you where the last 20 years went. It's gone. You cannot afford to ignore that it's just going to leave. So Things like compound interest are things that a younger person should take advantage of. A parent who's smart can open up something when a child is 2 years old because of what it does for you, because of the time value that comes with starting early in life. So, absolutely, I think we hustle because we hear the clock ticking. We know we don't have much time, and we know what we haven't done, and so we're trying to get it all in and get it all done, when sometimes what you have to do is say, you know what, I'm going to do what I can do, but I'm going to make sure the generation behind me hears this lesson. Don't wait, get started. And that's why I share it all the time. I've got gray hair. I remember I didn't have one. I'm losing a little hair right there. I remember when I wasn't losing nothing. I remember when it was coming in real quick all the time. it,
Yeah.
it changes with time, so do what matters.
It's a lesson in its own. Uh, number three, is there a book that inspired your journey or changed your perspective?
Absolutely. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book called Cash Flow Quadrant. It is, I've read thousands and thousands of books, but this particular book separates where you earn your money into four quadrants. One is a job, the other one is a small business, and those are on the left side of the quadrant. Then there is a big business owner and an investor, those are on the right side. What he's teaching in the book is that you can tell a lot about a person as far as where they earn their money. It will tell you a lot. And he gives different things in the book that it tells you about the person. The goal of the book is to help people who are on the left side of the quadrant move to the right side of the quadrant. And so I when I read this book for the first time, I was quite a bit younger, and it was a paradigm shift for me because inwardly I didn't want a job. I had left my job at 24 years of age, and I've not
Um,
worked for anybody else since. Um, and I knew that, but there was no one in my family system who had operated like that.
mm,
So I couldn't quite make it make sense. But when I saw the importance of moving from a job or a small business, which is really pretty much a single owner having a business, and really it's a job that you own. But when you move to the other side, now you've got employees and systems you've created to bring in money, or you're investing in people who do it. This is going to allow you to view life from a whole different perspective. So it absolutely, and I've read so many great books, but that one was a major paradigm shift for me. And I recommend it to anyone who needs to look to see something about yourself, about where you earn your money. It's called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki.
perfect. Number four, what is your favorite dish to make?
I'm an Italian food cooker, so my favorite dish to make is stuffed shells,
Stuffed shells.
because
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe I do something unique with stuffed shells. Most recipes for stuffed shells, it's the shell with the cheese mixture,
Yep.
but I make a meat mixture and a cheese mixture, and I combine them, and that's what I put in the shell. And so, um, my children, my family love and ask for my stuffed shells because it's a kind of a unique way of making them.
All right. Is there, can we guess the cheese?
There's multiple.
Okay. Yeah, because you can't just do one, right?
No, I've got, you got ricotta, you've got
Yeah.
mozzarella, you've got parmesan, you've just got, I've got five cheeses
Mhm.
that we use, and then there is a meat sauce that normally a lot of these recipes call for the meat sauce to kind of be underneath the shells and
Yep.
kind of spread over them, but I've made a thicker consistency of the meat and mixed it with the cheese, and when you put that in the shell, whew,
Right.
it's something special.
It's early in the morning, man. Come on now. You give me my breakfast. Yeah, I just had some water. Like,
Right, right. I haven't had anything to eat either, but you asked the question.
yeah. I did. So, this is the last question of the show, which is where can people find out more about you?
Well, listen, you could go to my business site, which is um, Biz Capital Solutions, BIZ, capitalsolutions.com. You can find connections to me there. You can also find me here on YouTube. If you find me on YouTube, it's Dwayne the Success King. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. That's where my larger presence is, on TikTok and YouTube. So I'd be
Interesting.
more than glad to connect with you there.
See, that's something I haven't really delved into TikTok too heavy, but it seems like the audience is there though.
TikTok has an audience that you need to move somewhere,
Mm,
because out of all social media platforms, they're the one who shares your video is shared to as few of your actual subscribers as possible. So
mhm.
your subscribers don't see your content. They're always sending it to new people. And so
Interesting.
it's almost like every video is a fresh run of you. And once you learn that, it helps you understand how you have to operate. They're not showing your stuff to your people. They're
Wow.
showing your stuff to new people. And that's their algorithm trick to keep people on TikTok. So your people aren't going to follow you somewhere.
I like it. Man, Dwayne Youngblood, for you guys who is just tuning in, we just wrapping up this episode. And Dwayne, man, thank you so much for coming through, sharing the value of success and to get started with your business and really trying to understand what it is like to actually, run it, not just for yourself, but also for a legacy perspective.
Yes.
Um, and for those of you who want to continue to listen to more episodes like this, please search About That Wallet on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to amazing financial content, because we there. We're going to be everywhere as much as you need to. And
Beautiful.
make sure y'all sign up for the newsletter. It's a monthly newsletter. I actually got the next one coming out in August 1st. I try to get it out within the first week or so. So make sure y'all sign up so we can get some of this lovely information and learn more about your wallet. So thank you again. Y'all be safe.
Thank you.
We out. Peace. Thank you.